your mind, your body, your soul. I love it when you make me feel like I'm in control. We ain't gotta tell no one, let's keep.
Hey fellow foodies, it's Faye from faysfood.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make s'mores ice cream right from home. Super easy. Okay, so we're going to start off with some whole milk in a saucepan. It is important that we use whole milk because we're going to need that full fat in our recipe. Of course, we're also going to be using heavy cream, and a lot of it. And we are also going to be using granulated sugar as well as skim milk powder. Alright, so in our saucepan with milk, I am going to go ahead and just dump in the sugar and milk powder right on in there all at once. I do have the saucepan over medium heat. I'm going to also add in a bit of vanilla extract. Okay, I'm gonna just give this a stir just to get this started. Right, and then I move to a whisk to really begin to mix this until it's smooth. And what I'm looking for is I want the milk powder and the sugar granules to kind of just dissolve completely over the heat. So once that is the case, what I'm going to do is stir in all the heavy cream all at once. Very important that all your ingredients are at room temp. The key is here, if we have cold milk and cold heavy cream from the get-go, ice cold, I'm talking about straight from the fridge, and then we just start heating it up, there's a good chance it will curdle, so we don't want that. So I really do highly suggest, and the recipe will suggest, that you have your ingredients at room temperature. Alright, so once we have all our heavy cream in there, it's just about cooking this and stirring this every now and then. Once it reaches 110 degrees Fahrenheit, which will take about 5 to 10 minutes, you can take it off the heat. In the meantime, I have 2 egg yolks in a large bowl, and I'm going to just get this going. And I'm just going to add in some of our milk heavy cream mixture that I just have a little bit of in a measuring cup. It's just easier to pour this way. And I just kind of did 2 batches of measuring cups, so around 1.5 to 2 cups. You don't really have to pour all of our milk mixture in here to really temper this. We're just trying to get it up to temp, and about 1.5 to 2 cups will do the job. So just whisk this until it reaches a uniform color, uniform consistency. Alright, and then once we reach that, we can go ahead and pour it back while whisking back into our saucepan. And this is again over medium heat. We're going to continue to cook this now all together. Again, we're going to stir every now and then until it reaches about 165 degrees Fahrenheit, which will take about 5 to 10 minutes more. This is definitely a recipe that you can't skimp on having a thermometer. You really need the accuracy here, so definitely recommend using a thermometer instead of basing it on time. Okay, so it looks like we are going to be a little bit over, but that's totally fine. We can go ahead and take it off the heat now, and I'm gonna instantly transfer it into an ice bath. You can see most of my ice melted, but it's all good. We're gonna just place it in there, and we're gonna let that cool for about 15 to 20 minutes. And again, you want to stir it every now and then for a few reasons. This will prevent burning. It will also help the mixture cool down a bit quicker, help the heat dissipate a little bit, so that's why it's important to stir every now and then. Okay, so after about 20 minutes, you can go ahead and pour this into a large bowl over a sieve. I do like to do it this way because it does catch some of the larger chunks. And now all we're gonna do is wrap this really well and place it in the fridge for a couple of hours. Now, for the marshmallows, you can use the big marshmallows or the mini marshmallows. I had the minis on hand, so that's what I ended up using. The key here is you really want some space in between them. You kind of want them in a singular like pack. You don't want them all jammed up together. You want them all kind of flat. And you don't want them to touch the sides. I did cook them on a Silipet to make it easier, and I also sprayed the Silipet really well with cooking spray. I really didn't want this stuff sticking everywhere, so we cooked it for about 15 minutes until it was browned, but you can cook them until they're burned if you'd like that as well. That's all optional. Right, so out of the oven, you can go ahead and place the marshmallows right into the ice cream mixture. And here's where the immersion blender will do the job all for you. You can use a regular blender if that's all you have, but I definitely recommend an immersion blender over a regular blender. So it might not look like it's gonna work, but be patient and eventually you'll have a smooth toasted marshmallow ice cream base. It is so good and so hard not to just eat up all on its own. So after we blend that up, we do want to take the foam off. I do this with any kind of custard I make, and ice cream is a custard, so I kind of just applied the same rule of skimming the foam off the top. This might be a bit extra, but I take no chances with ice cream. Alright, and then you can see we have a totally smooth ice cream base. Just gotta be patient and you'll eventually get there. So once we have our base, we can go ahead and place it back in the fridge until we're ready to use it. For me, I placed it back in the fridge overnight. I figured the flavors will meld better, and plus it'll give me some time to prep everything else. So this is the next day. We're gonna go ahead and work on our graham cracker crust. So I have some graham crackers in there, some cinnamon, vanilla, milk powder as well, sugar, salt. Alright, in our pan we have some cream cheese and unsalted butter. I'm going to melt this all together over a low heat. We're not trying to bring it to a boil or anything, we're just trying to really melt it slowly. And then I'm going to add in some vanilla extract, give that a whisk. And once it's all melted, we can go ahead and add that into our graham crumb mixture. You want to make sure all the crumbs are really well hydrated with the melted butter and cream cheese. And then once that is done, you can go ahead and pour it all onto a baking sheet lined with a silicone mat that has been sprayed well, of course. And the key here is you really want to pack this in tightly. If you don't, you're just going to get crumbs. You're not going to get those chunks of graham cracker crust. So really, really pack it in tightly. And then I do wrap it up restaurant style meaning that we want to kind of wrap it, the back of the pan and the front of the pan. And I freeze it for at least an hour, but a couple hours would be great. Alright, so then you want to make the chocolate portion of the s'more. So we're going to make a quick ganache. I have some heavy cream that I heated up over medium heat. You see that it reached a simmer. And once it reached the simmer, I just poured it over my chocolate. Ideally, you want to use milk chocolate. You can use chips or the bars of chocolate, but I didn't have a lot of milk chocolate, so I kind of used a mixture of bittersweet, semi-sweet, and milk chocolate. Do whatever floats your boat. There's really no rules to this. Alright, so once you have the ganache all set, you can set that to the side. And then once that hour or two has passed, you can go ahead and start chopping up your graham cracker chunks. And if I had to do it again, I'd probably chop them up a bit smaller and freeze it overnight. I feel like they would have held their integrity a little bit more if I did that, but you know what, it still tasted great, so who cares. Alright, so now I'm ready to actually make the ice cream. So I took the base out of the fridge, I poured it into my ice cream maker, and of course every ice cream maker is going to have its own instructions and all own settings, but so I can't really tell you anything about that, but for mine it usually took 20 to 25 minutes every time I make ice cream, so that's generally what I time it for. And you can see that in the middle, near the end of the process, I started putting in the graham cracker chunks. Not a lot, just a little bit. And then I continue to do so once I am done mixing it up and it's just kind of the soft serve stage. I mix it up all in a bowl. So I put in some graham cracker chunks, and now I'm putting some of the ganache. Maybe a bit too much ganache, but hey, I love chocolate, so we're gonna go with it. And then I'm gonna swirl it. Not too much, of course. And of course the chunks, because they're so huge, they got in my way, so that's what I was saying. Maybe next time we'll make them a little smaller. Alright, and then you do the next layer, same thing. And unless you're in a freezing cold kitchen, your ice cream is going to melt. It's all good. It's not going to be the same as when you took it out of the machine. It's going to melt a little bit. So don't freak out. I'm telling you what though, this ice cream is absolutely heaven. If you love s'mores like I do, it is absolutely so good. All the flavors really come through. So you can see I basically have ice cream soup at this point, but we're gonna just put it back into our container for a final freezing. And I really love these ice cream containers. It makes it so much easier to freeze instead of those like plastic containers, like Tupperware. This one's so much easier, more professional looking. I'll leave you a link in the description below of where you can get them. But anyways, this is our set ice cream the next day. I do let it sit out for about 10 minutes before scooping it, just to make it a little bit easier. You can see how luscious and creamy it is. The chocolate chunks, the graham cracker chunks, the toasted marshmallow base. It is delightful. If you guys want to give this a try, trust me on that. For the full recipe, go to faysfood.com. Comment below if you have any comments or questions. Like this video if you like it. Share this video if you can, I'd appreciate it. Subscribe to this channel for more great videos on the way. And until next time, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day.
I've been reading you to figure what you're down for. I wanna figure out to make it come around. But we should quit the game and settle things right here, right now. I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about all the things you do. I wanna take you from everything.